Hello friends, and this is the final part 5. We still have Q&A later, but out of the whole lecture, this is the final part of webinar 14. How exciting is that? And in this part, I'm discussing the 4 R's: relocation, real estate, retirement, and resorts. So first question is, to relocate or to stay put? See, that's a question posed by so many clients of mine and so many followers. And also, when is the right time to relocate? And I promise you, I will give you the timeline for everything. And this is your timeline. In order to catch the wave of period 9, which starts in 2024, I recommend you relocate before 2024 or right in the beginning of 2024. So in other words, between now and 2024. If you are saying, well, I'm busy where I am, I'm like working, but I want to have some sort of retirement home or second home or vacation home somewhere else where I might, like, plan B could be escape kind of route for me, an escape place, right? If you're thinking that way and you have gainful employment and important engagements and responsibilities where you are right now, but it's not where you would want to be, so you look in the same time frame between now, good time, and something like 2023-24, and by at that point up until 2026. Remember, these predictions up until 2026. And now the question is to relocate or to stay put. And it depends, it's all personal. So here, the best thing I can tell you is that please schedule a consultation with me. That's private personal consultation via Skype with Lada. A lot of you know what that is and how it works. Simply go to ladaray.com, click on consultations tab on top of the screen, read through the page called consultations, Lada consultations, and the first consultation is the one that I'm suggesting for these kinds of questions, personal consultation with Lada via Skype. There are other consultations on the list. If you want the first consultation, private personal consultation, you click on that, click on the link, click on the title, that is, which is the link. It takes you to the page. Read through the page so you understand what it entails, how it works, how I work, so you don't have any questions. And contact me. Contact information is right there, either through contact form or you can email me if you know my email address, which is the Lada email. And a lot of you probably already know my email because I contacted quite a few of my people. And when you do get webinar, when you pay for the webinar, then Oz acknowledges that and sends you the link for the webinar, and that's the email to contact me via. Okay, so use that email or go through contact form. If you already know my email, I prefer you use my email. During the consultation, I can calibrate for you. Currently, I do up to 6 calibrations per 1 hour consultation, up to 8 calibrations during 1.5 hour consultation, and 10 consultation for 2 hour consultation. Calibrations are a higher dimensional tool. It is a very serious tool from 6th, 7th, and above dimensions, and it should not be used haphazardly or idly. It should be used with reverence for important things and not like a fortune cookie, so that's why. And also because it is very straining on my heart chakra, I use a certain number of calibrations, and that means if I'm calibrating Chi and QC, that's 2 calibrations. Okay, so I sometimes I go a little bit over, but not much. I might give you a bonus calibration here and there. So anyway, we calibrate. I look into the energy and also do predictions based on your specific situation, advice based on your specific situation. So we look deeply into your specific situation because everybody is different, guys. Maybe you already live in a country that is sitting pretty, or in the area of the country that is sitting pretty. For example, you live in the US, but you live in Texas, which is the south of the US. I have clients who moved ever since we had discussions with them from California, which is the west, to Texas, to Florida, to Arizona, which is all south of the US, and they're happy there. Okay, so I also have clients who moved south of the border, and I also have clients in Europe, of course, who are considering some southern location or places somewhere, say in Southeast Asia. And I will give you a list of top 7 countries. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a little more than that. There will be runners up, like top 5 countries plus a few runners up. Okay, so I would say that schedule a consultation if you want and can. If you can't, just listen to all my stuff, because I give you a lot of information everywhere. So it's all your personal choice, but try to adhere to my timelines, because they really provide a lot of information and a lot of guidance for you, a lot of feedback. Now, I'm going to tell you something that, again, based on a system of periods, and only I will tell you this: where is best to move, what geographic areas around the world. That applies to the entire world, to your continent, or to your country. So the best places to live, world, continent, or country: south of your area that you're considering. South, south, and south. In other words, south is the dominant. Also, you can consider southeast, east, southwest, and maybe center, and maybe northeast, but not really. So I prefer south, 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 also southeast, east, and possibly southwest. Center might be considered, center might still work. And now, climate and terrain: warm climate, hot climate, tropical climate, sea climate, anything south, resort, sea. Terrain and lay of the land: plains, okay, plains, prairies, Russian steppes, flatlands, deserts, beaches, ocean, sea, and lakes. These are the terrains you should be looking for. Okay? Resort-like environment, spa-like environment, retirement communities, all that. Now I'm going to give you my top countries to move to. And disclaimer, from my point of view, your point of view may be very different, guys, very different. And you may not, and again, if you live in the southern area, say, of your specific country, and you're happy there, more power to you, okay? Because maybe you don't want to leave your specific country, and or maybe you want to consider moving like more southern in your specific country, maybe, okay? Or maybe you are busy and happy where you are already, and will be happy there for years to come. And maybe the only thing you might be considering is actually buying second property somewhere, or retirement property with the proviso you'll retire or use it as vacation home or rent it out for years to come. So my top countries, ready? Russia, and that means for allocation. Russia, especially south of Russia. Mexico, Singapore, Thailand, and Spain. And I have runners up. These are Malaysia and the Caribbean. And below runner up, but also possibly worth considering, only because they are in a very strange economic situation, and it is part of the EU, which is a big question mark even for Spain. But Spain actually has like really tremendous infrastructure, and it's not too expensive. Where you know, so the rest of the Club Med of Europe, but because it's EU and humongous taxes there. And Europe might be going to the dogs, a lot of uncertainty in Europe in period 9. Because of that, I'm putting a big question mark against that. Also, parts of Southeast Asia, but again, big question mark, because I think a lot of those countries will have a lot to deal with. I'm singling out Thailand, though, and I have 2 runners-up, Malaysia and the Caribbean. So, Russia. great infrastructure, great culture, rising power, great people. South of Russia has great agriculture, fresh organic produce, better than organic because it's all natural and in great shape, inexpensive, relatively inexpensive, and lots of sea, sun. And if we're talking south of Russia, that's between Black Sea and Caspian Sea, a great area. That's Stavropol and Kuban, and Sochi, of course, is right up there. Krasnodar, that's part of Kuban, and Stavropol. And then the capital of Stavropol is called Stavropol, and we have Crimea as well. That whole area, that whole swath of the land, that's my one of the first choices. But not only Russian steppes. Russia is a very flatland country. It's steppes everywhere. Very good stuff. Lots of lakes and rivers in Russia, also very good. And even Lake Baikal in Siberia, etc. And of course, culture is unbelievable, unparalleled. Russians really know how to live, how to party, how to savor life. But at the same time, country is developing very fast. Tremendous internet, tremendous infrastructure in many places, and more places are joining that, and a lot more heart than the majority of the world, and especially the West, a lot more hard. So, there's a lot to say about Russia. Great choice. Mexico, very good choice if you live in the Americas. And G20 country, it is not a small country. And whatever they say about Mexicans in the US, don't believe it, that's a lie. There's plenty of upper class and middle class there. Yes, there is also poverty, relative poverty, of course, but just wait 10 years and you will see a lot of poverty in the West. In many places you already see poverty. I, for example, see it in upstate New York, plenty of poverty. Okay, so Mexico is one of the top choices. Great climate, lots of places, great climate, lots of resorts. Infrastructure is decent. Could be better, but also is getting better and better. Singapore, great choice country, very small. It's a country, city country, in fact, or an island slash city slash country, in great shape economically, great currency. However, extremely expensive, like super expensive. I think Singapore as a city is considered currently the most expensive city in the world, or one of the two most expensive. And real estate is extremely expensive, so you really have to have quite a bit of money to live there. So it's for very few people, I would say. But Singapore is high on the list otherwise. Thailand, inexpensive, even cheap, I would say, probably. Lots of interesting, like Western oriented for Westerners kind of places that have been built up. Great produce, great sun, too much sun for me, and a little bit, a nice culture, Buddhist culture, more peaceful, but of course there are turmoils, and they might have turmoils, but the culture is wonderful. People are wonderful. Fresh produce is wonderful. There are a lot of ocean there and beaches, etc. And inland is also not so bad. The northern part of Thailand also not so bad. Basically Thailand is also high on my list. And I included Spain here despite my best judgment, because it's part of the EU, because Spain really has a lot to offer and has great beaches, very southern climate, too hot as far as I'm concerned, but still great climate, great vegetation, great produce, nice real estate, and some places is not even that expensive as far as I understand, near the beaches, because it was overbuilt, and it actually may go down in the next few years again, so it will be more affordable. So anybody looking for second home who lives in Europe, consider Spain. Of all the Club Med countries, Spain drew my attention, and I actually looked, Claire, cognizantly at all the countries, and some have great, huge advantages over others. For example, Croatia has amazing Adriatic Sea access. The whole country is, in fact, has access to sea, and has beautiful places, beautiful beaches, as well as awesome nature. And Istria, for example. Hello guys, if you're my Istrian followers and clients, if you are listening to this. And Istria has also forests, and it's amazing, it's beautiful, you know, a little bit like Sochi maybe, because Sochi has mountains, it's like between mountains, like sandwiched, and the sea, and over there you have mountains and forests and the beaches and the sea, and you know, that Istria as a peninsula is kind of sandwiched in between. Very nice, great nature. So it's like calibrates very highly, sort of like a paradise. So some guys might consider Istria or Croatia, basically, which is very tourist oriented. The whole place is part of the former Yugoslavia. Now, of course, it's a separate country, and they don't want to do anything. They don't want anything to do with Serbia or Yugoslavia. Just guys, remember, you're still Southern Slavs, and Southern Slavs translates exactly as Yugoslavs. Well, that's not an insult, it's not a reference to Serbia, it is simply that you're Southern Slavs. I mean, I always want to make peace between Southern Slavs, because they're such nice people, I just love them. Anyway, if only Russians and Ukrainians did the same, right? So you may want to consider Croatia, but really bad as far as like a business climate goes, as my clients would attest to it, and really dependent on tourism there, and you know, certain like vestiges of the former Yugoslavian wars. So it's like a question mark for me. So I singled out Spain above Italy, which is now suffering from many things. As you know, my sister has lived in Italy for years, so she knows a lot, and she lived in the richest part of Italy, in northern Italy. And Portugal is next to Spain, and actually maybe Portugal also. I know a lot less about Portugal, although we have Portuguese followers. And hello guys. Yes, Greece. Some people like Greece. I personally do not. I think Greece has a lot of problems. Bulgaria, I think, has a lot of problems. People are lovely in Greece and Bulgaria, really lovely, as a matter of fact. But in my opinion, too hot and too many economic problems. Okay, so that's all for the list of countries. I told you my opinion. Still like Malaysia. Went there in the beginning of 2000s, loved it. I still recommend it for people. Very mild-mannered country, and pretty nice actually for what it is. Okay, some people might like it, some people don't, and some people leave it. But I think the heart of the country is very nice. Now, people asked me about it, and I do want to tell you this very secret prediction. Will real estate be up or down in the next 3 years? Because of the spread, astrological spread, serious astrologers are predicting that real estate will be down, and we're talking generally globally, between now and the next 3 years, between 2020 and 2023. Some predict that there will be a 30% drop in real estate in the following 2-3 years. More like 3. There are different reasons for that. I say yes, globally yes, and some places, and you will be able to grab something very good, some really great bargains. So keep your eyes and ears open. But there will be some places that will be exempt from it. So I cannot know which place you're referring to. So what I want you to do in a case like this, you can schedule a private personal consultation with me, discuss different places that we will go. We can go over like 5-6 different locations or places, or maybe you have properties already lined up, and or you just want to discuss areas. How's this area of the world for me? How's that area for the world? I can calibrate for you how that area of the world fares, and I can also look into those areas and give you my assessment and my prediction for specific areas, how, in my opinion, they pan out. We can discuss more than 5 or 6, whatever fits in 1 hour. Or if it's 1.5 hours, then it could be more. But yeah, that's my secret prediction for the real estate in the next 3 years. We should see a drop Maybe sometimes it will be flat in some places. Maybe it will be 5-10% drop in some places. And in some places, it could go down 20-30%, for all I know. Okay, now what should you do if you're not ready to leave the country, or if you plan to stay right where you are? I think I already said that, but I will repeat that everybody has their own timeline. Everybody has their own situation. Some are retiring now, others are retired and can't wait to get out. Others work from home like me, and you can live literally anywhere in the world as long as you have really great internet. And yet others have specific commitments right where they are. And currently, like me, even though I don't have to stay in the US, I have specific family commitments. So it is being delayed because of those commitments, but I'm moving towards finalizing my decision to leave the US. And COVID also postponed everything, but the decision is still the same. So I'm working with the same timeline as you guys do. I have the same timeline and I have the same information. I'm giving you all the information that I have. That's my secret information. And so if you are not ready, see what you want to do. Maybe you want to buy second property, maybe retirement or rental property that you will rent out while you are actually living in your country. Maybe you will be a snowbird. If you live in the north, you come down to the south for vacation to soak up some sun and rent it out the rest of the year. Some people do that. I have clients who are doing that, and we're researching where is best for them to buy something that they could rent out, with the idea that eventually they might retire there. And so what we're moving towards for people is that consider retirement. Also consider where older people like to live in southern lands, because that's also an indication this is the right spot. Because period 9, the last period of the cycle, will be about older people and about retirement. It also will be about rest and resorts and spa and also revolutions and the rebirths, and as well as a lot of turmoils and changes and tectonic shifts, and the dawn of the new age and the Aquarian age, all that, right? So positives, negatives, good and bad, right? Everything is there. But also people were asking about travel. Yeah, travel dwindled down to nothing. Travel industry is in a shambles right now because of COVID and because of all the restrictions. However, during period 9, travel will be fine. You know, maybe some of it will not work like it is today, because people will be traveling in different ways. Maybe some people will choose eco travel. Like anything ecologically sound, ecologically good for the Mother Earth. That's also another thing. Organic produce, things like that, all that will be in favor in period 9. So agriculture, but not just any agriculture that produces ecologically clean produce. Well, that's another reason southern Russia is so great, because they do have a lot of ecologically clean produce there in Stavropol and in Kuban. Just forgot for a moment. Okay, so all that. Okay, guys. So these are my prognosis and predictions. To choose wisely, guys. There's so much that is coming our way. So many wonderful things. We'll continue talking about them. I really hope to have Q&As and live discussions, like live workshops in the future with you as well. I will be testing new platforms, new social media soon, and I'm inviting you all to participate. It's going to be so wonderful, and you will be able to ask me more questions. And for patrons especially, Q&As are coming in August and September. There will be test Q&As for me for future changes that I will do more with you live, so you could actually get in touch with me, and so we could discuss like wonderful things. And I want to focus more on predictions. I want to focus more on the future and in the good future and good parts of the future, not just like, enough of this geopolitics, enough of this dreary stuff, right? I just had to do that because so many people demand it, and then also because all these events are happening. But I would really love to do more positive forward-looking things with you, spiritual, higher dimensional, multidimensional. That's where I'm moving. And so this is the end of part 5. I hope you learned a lot from this webinar, and don't go away, because part 6, the Q&A, is coming your way right after this, and I'm answering questions from Maddie, Stella and Gary, Seeker, George, and there's also a bonus question from John, I believe, John C, and Anthony R. So we have all these questions to answer, and I'll see you in the Q&A. It's exciting questions, guys, so don't miss them.